Belle Gunness was more than a farmer. She was a master of secrets, a woman whose life was shrouded in mystery and darkness. Her Indiana soil hid horrors that would haunt the nation for decades, secrets buried just beneath the surface of her quiet land. On her LaPorte property, authorities would eventually uncover evidence of at least 14 murders, though rumors whispered the number could be as high as 40, making her one of America's most prolific killers. Suitors, husbands, and even her own children fell victim to her deadly schemes, their lives cut short by a woman they trusted. Belle's weapon was deception. She turned lonely hearts ads into death sentences, luring hopeful men from across the country to her door. But the greatest mystery wasn't just her body count, it was her own fate, a puzzle that would baffle investigators and the public alike. Did she perish in a fire, or did she vanish into the night to start a new life under a different name? The truth remains elusive. Her story began far from Indiana, in Norway, as Brynhild Palstar Sturseth, a strong, determined woman with a seemingly ordinary life and humble beginnings. She immigrated to America, seeking opportunity, and soon married, starting a family in bustling Chicago, where her dark ambitions would first take root. But tragedy and suspicious deaths seemed to follow her. Her first husband died on the very day his life insurance policies overlapped, raising eyebrows and suspicions. Poison was suspected, but never proven, leaving a trail of unanswered questions in her wake. This was the start of a deadly pattern Belle would perfect on her Indiana farm, where isolation gave her the freedom to act without scrutiny. The farm itself became infamous, a respectable facade hiding a factory of death, its peaceful appearance masking unspeakable crimes. Belle lured men with promises of love and fortune, only to trap them in her web, their dreams turning to nightmares. Neighbors saw men arrive, but Belle always had an excuse for their sudden departures. No one suspected the truth. No one guessed the truth. The farm was a graveyard, and Belle its calculating caretaker, orchestrating every detail with chilling precision. Her crimes would only come to light after a final, fiery act that stunned the nation and left a legacy of fear. The Gunness farm was not a home. It was a house of secrets and death, its walls echoing with the stories of the lost. And the world was about to discover just how deep those secrets ran, forever changing the quiet fields of Indiana. Belle's deadliest tool was the Lonely Hearts ad, the early 1900s version of a dating app. She posed as a wealthy widow seeking a partner, promising comfort and companionship. Her ads targeted Scandinavian immigrants, men isolated and eager for a new start. In her letters, Belle was charming, persuasive, and painted a picture of a perfect future. But there was a catch. Before visiting, suitors had to bring their life savings, proof of commitment, she claimed. Many men saw this as reasonable, investing in a shared future. They arrived in LaPorte, cash in hand, dreaming of love and prosperity. Belle greeted them warmly, her reputation spotless. But these men were walking into a trap. Her farm was a one-way destination. The combination of Belle's charm and her business-like demands was irresistible and fatal. Each suitor believed he was special. None realized they were stepping into the lair of a killer. Once a suitor arrived at Belle's remote farmhouse, her deadly routine began to unfold, as if rehearsed countless times before. She welcomed them warmly, offering hearty meals and a comforting sense of belonging, making each man feel truly at home in her care. The men, convinced they'd found love and a new future, handed over their savings, trusting Belle with their hopes and their fortunes. But soon after, they vanished, leaving behind only empty rooms and unanswered questions. They were never seen again. Belle always had a ready excuse. The man had left suddenly, changed his mind, or set out for the promise of the West. Her victims were often immigrants, men with few connections or family nearby, no one to notice their absence or ask too many questions. This careful selection allowed her to operate undetected for years, her crimes hidden in plain sight. But the case of Andrew Helgelien would change everything, setting in motion a chain of events Belle could not control. After months of correspondence with Belle, Andrew sold his farm, packed his belongings, and disappeared into her world. His brother Astley, growing increasingly suspicious, pressed Belle for answers, refusing to accept her vague explanations. Belle claimed Andrew had left for Norway, even inviting Asle to visit the farm, a chilling and calculated move to deflect suspicion. Asle's persistence put mounting pressure on Belle, threatening to unravel the web of lies she'd spun so carefully. For years, she'd made men disappear without consequence, erasing their presence as if they'd never existed. Now a determined family member was closing in, refusing to let his brother's memory fade into silence. Asle's investigation became the catalyst for what would come next, drawing attention to Belle's dark secrets. Belle realized her time was running out. The walls were closing in, and her carefully constructed life was beginning to crumble. She needed an escape plan, fast. Panic set in as she scrambled to stay one step ahead. The stage was set for her most dramatic act yet, as the truth threatened to finally come to light. Belle's crimes were driven by an insatiable greed. Her victims' savings and life insurance policies were her primary targets, and she pursued them with chilling determination. Her first husband, Mads Sorensen, died under suspicious circumstances on the very day his two insurance policies overlapped, a coincidence that was anything but accidental. Belle swiftly collected both payouts, using the windfall to purchase her Indiana farm, a place that would soon become infamous. Her second husband, Peter Gunness, died in a bizarre accident soon after their marriage, raising even more suspicions among neighbors and authorities. Despite the growing doubts, Belle once again managed to collect a substantial insurance payout, further fueling her deadly enterprise. Even her own children weren't safe. Two died mysteriously in infancy, likely poisoned for their small insurance policies, showing that no bond was sacred to Belle. Her adopted daughter Jenny vanished after learning too much. Her body was later discovered buried on the farm, a grim testament to Belle's ruthlessness. Belle's method was cold and calculated. Each person in her life was viewed as an asset to be liquidated for maximum gain. Suitors arrived with cash in hand, lured by promises of love and partnership. Husbands and children brought insurance payouts, all feeding her growing fortune. The farm itself became both a graveyard and a financial enterprise, its soil hiding the evidence of her crimes. Belle wasn't a killer of passion. She was a predator, methodically turning human life into profit with chilling indifference. Her dual approach, using romance to lure victims and insurance fraud to profit from their deaths, made her one of America's most prolific and notorious female serial killers. The Gunness farm was a deadly business, run with chilling efficiency and a total lack of remorse. Every relationship was a transaction, every death a calculated payday, and every new arrival a potential victim. Belle's greed knew no bounds, and her hunger for wealth only grew with each successful scheme. But as the bodies piled up and suspicions mounted, Belle's crimes were about to be exposed to the world. On April 28, 1908, fire engulfed the Gunness farmhouse. Neighbors and firefighters arrived to a blazing inferno, too late to save anyone inside. Joe Maxson, a recently fired hired hand, escaped and raised the alarm. The community assumed Belle and her 3 children were trapped. When the flames died, searchers found the children's bodies and a headless adult woman. The body seemed too small to be Belle, raising immediate suspicion. Was this Belle or a decoy? The missing head deepened the mystery. Some believed Belle died in the fire. Others suspected she'd staged her own death. The timing was suspicious. Asle Helgelien was on his way to confront her. The fire, once seen as tragedy, became a criminal investigation. Authorities were baffled by the identity of the headless woman. Had Belle murdered her children, planted a body, and escaped? The community demanded answers. The investigation was just beginning. The farm was about to reveal its darkest secrets. Asle Helgelien refused to believe Belle was dead. He urged authorities to search the farm, convinced his brother Andrew had been murdered. Reluctantly, they began to dig, starting in the hog pen. What they found shocked the nation, a burlap sack containing Andrew's dismembered remains. More bodies followed, men, women, children, all stripped of valuables, buried in shallow graves. The farm was a mass grave, not a home. The official count reached 14, but many believed there were more. Victims included suitors lured by Belle's ads and her adopted daughter Jenny. The discovery confirmed Jenny's fate. She'd known too much. News spread quickly, turning LaPorte into a morbid tourist attraction. Reporters, police, and crowds descended on the town. Belle Gunness became infamous as the Lady Killer. Her crimes had gone undetected for years. Now the world wanted to know, where was Belle? The mystery was far from over. The identity of the headless woman was the central puzzle. Authorities declared it was Belle, based on dental work found nearby, but the body was much smaller than Belle's known size. Friends and neighbors doubted the official story. The missing head and the intact dental bridge fueled suspicion of a staged death. Some believed Belle murdered another woman as a decoy, killed her children, and escaped. The official ruling said Belle was dead, but doubts and legends persisted. With the body's identity in question, rumors of Belle's escape spread. Sightings of a large Norwegian woman surfaced across the country, but none were confirmed. A Chicago bank reported a woman matching Belle's description withdrawing a large sum after the fire. Decades later, a woman named Esther Carlson died in Los Angeles, suspected of murder. She resembled Belle and had photos of children like Belle's. Was this Belle's final chapter? No one could prove it. The debate endures. Did she die in the fire or outsmart everyone and vanish? Both possibilities are chilling. The legend of Belle Gunness only grew. Belle Gunness's story ends with a question mark. Officially, she died in the fire, but evidence suggests otherwise. Her crimes were a betrayal of trust, turning hope into horror. The Gunness farm remains a dark stain on LaPorte, a reminder of evil hiding in plain sight. The discovery of the body pit shattered the town's innocence. Belle's final fate is unwritten. Did she die or escape to kill again? She is a riddle, unsolved for over a century, and that is why her story endures.